Hello, RSU faculty. This is Troy Gerard, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about test banks versus question pools coming up. Before we get started, I wanted to talk to you guys about the difference between tests that are test bank files uploaded into Genzabar from, say, a publisher tool versus tests that were created through the test builder. Now, in Genzabar, we have an item called the test builder. And what this was, where you could build your questions out in Genzabar, but there actually isn't a way for you to export those questions. So one of the things that we are trying to tackle through this migration is building out those test banks in Blackboard. Now, many of you guys have test banks from your publisher tools, and you are able to upload those into Blackboard. I'm going to show you how to do that very simply. But for everyone that has a test bank that was built in Genzabar, unfortunately, there isn't a way for us to export that test bank and then upload it into Blackboard. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how you can upload test banks from a publisher tool or a publisher file, and also edit questions to build question pools in your test. To get started uploading a question bank to your course, you want to log into Blackboard and go to the course you are wanting to upload your question bank file. Once in this course, you're going to scroll down and find Question Banks Manage Bank on the bottom left-hand side of what I like to call these blue links. You select Manage Bank. It's going to tell you that we don't have any question banks in this course, and that's all right. We're going to hit the plus sign up at the top right-hand side. It's going to then open up our documents or open up a window that we can go and find a question bank. I know that I have chapter 1 here in a zip folder, and I hit open. It's going to do its thing. It's going to upload this question. It's going to analyze what kind of questions are in there, whether they're true and false, multiple choice, essay question. It's going to process for some time, and eventually it will tell me that it's done. Since it is processing, I can hit the X and I can go about editing my course as needed while it's uploading. I'm going to actually create a test from scratch. I'm going to locate a plus sign. Anywhere in your course that you find a plus sign, you can add an item, and I'm going to hit create. I then select test, and this opens up a new test. I'm going to say chapter 1 test and give it a title here at the top. And I'm going to make sure that it is visible to my students. Now that I've done this, I can go back to my bank and make sure that my question bank has uploaded and it has been successful. It tells me that I have 125 questions, and it tells me what date and what time it was uploaded. So this is all that I need to do in this question bank menu. And if I go back to the course homepage under content, under this Manage Banks link, this is all I can do. I can upload or I can delete the question bank file. Where I'm actually going to create my test questions that I want students to answer is actually inside the test itself. So I'm going to go back to this chapter 1 test. And in this content area, I can find a plus sign. I can select this plus sign, and now it gives me several options. I can add a question pool, which we're going to be doing here. That's going to pull questions from our test bank or our question bank. The other things that we can do is create our own questions. And this is similar to what we saw in the test builder in Genzabar. If I wanted a formula question or a numeric question, an essay, fill in the blank, matching true and false, multiple choice, or if I want to reuse a question that I've built within this builder, I can do that as well. If I wanted to add a text box or upload a file, I can do that and choose something from a cloud storage, say Google Drive or OneDrive. So for this instance, I'm actually going to add a question pool. Now I'm in the question pool or the test bank manager. This allows me to look into this file and see that I have true and false questions. I have essay questions here from this chapter 1. I have multiple choice questions. As I keep scrolling, I'll find more questions. I have true and false at the bottom. It's going to give me all of these options within my question pool. Now over here, if you guys have shopped online or done anything online where you have filters, this is an ability to search out individual modules, individual chapters. If we have multiple question banks, I can simply go down and find question type. I can find question bank. I'm going to use question bank, this chapter 1 that I uploaded. If I simply want to have just true and false questions, I can then do that. And with these two selected, it shows that I have 25 results. So if I wanted to make a quiz or a chapter test of just true and false questions, and I have 25 of them, I can simply just select all here, okay? But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to select 3, true and false. I might add a multiple choice here, and I'll select 3 of those. And you can see that I have 6 questions to be added to this question pool. Now I hit add questions, and the next option is telling me how many points do I want each question to be worth. Now, if I have 6 questions, maybe I want them to be worth, say, the 10 points each to make that 60. Say I want to have them 5 each. I can do that. I can then say what number or how many questions do I want to be displayed to the students. So this is where I actually want to dictate how many questions are the students actually going to answer. Do I want them to answer all 6 of these, or do I only want to answer 3 of these and give a random selection of those 6? So I'm going to say 3 here just for the sake of this exercise. I told it that it was 5 points each. I can then hit save, and you can see that my grading scale gave it a maximum of 15 points. So I did all of this in the test content area. I can then go to the test settings and say, when is the due date? I can prohibit late submission. I can allow class conversation. That's for students to be able to communicate with each other. I can say, I want 1 question at a time displayed, so they will only see 1 question with the progress tracker. I can randomize the question. I can also randomize the answer. So that's for multiple choice questions there. I then have the option to say, well, maybe I want to have this as a quiz, not necessarily a test. Where does this fall in my gradebook categories? How many attempts am I going to allow them to have? I'll say 2. My grade attempts, do I want last with grade, or do I want attempt with the highest grade? I will select that one. And of course, the points, percentage, or letter if I want. And the points, again, it's grayed out because it's determined in this setting over here. I can also have assessment grade. Do I want to post the grade automatically at the end? I can then see when submission results are happening. Do they get the correct answer or not? Do they get the automatic feedback or not? Do they get their answer after submission? I can have an access code, a time limit, a grading rubric. I don't have anything right there for the grading rubric. And I can also enable Safe Assign, which is our plagiarism or originality report software. And I can give a description of this quiz. I'm also going to say here that it is chapter 1 and hit save. Okay, so now I've built out a quiz that has 3 questions. It's going to pull 3 random questions out of the 6 questions that I asked. It's going to give them a total of 5 points each for the round total of 15 points for the overall score. So now I want to show you what this quiz looks like for the students. I'm going to go into student preview and start preview. And when the student is viewing your course, they're going to see this chapter 1 test that I just created. It's going to give them the description right here. If they click on it, it doesn't actually open up that big window yet. It has a pop-up window that shows the attempts, the due dates, the description, any of the other content that you want. Maybe it has learning objectives here in the description. You know, it's going to give them all of the details before they start this. Once the student hits view assessment, their time begins if you have time, and you can see that it's displaying one question with the answer, and it tells them 5 points. It has this progress tracking bar, and it allows them to go through. So I'm going to randomly select some of these. You can see the progress moves forward. I can hit continue. I can say true and hit continue. If a student wants to go back, they can go to the previous. We can allow students to go back and forth, or we can block them to allow them not to go back or not to re-answer questions if we want to. And again, that's all in the settings when we set this up. So we can select this. They have a box that they can upload things. If we don't want them to have that box, we can turn that off, and the student hits submit. They then ask them, do you want to submit this quiz? And they say yes. Once it's submitted, it actually gives them a submission receipt with a unique number, and it emails them this receipt. They can download it to their computer from this, or they can hit close. It also sends you, as the teacher, the receipt, and we can take a look at that at the other video in the gradebook settings. Okay, so now going back to the instructor view, we can go to this chapter test, and we can see that there's one submitted over here on the right-hand side. We will have the ability to see that attempt. This person got 5 out of 15, so they got 1 right. I can then click on their name and their attempt. You also have their submission receipt number right here if you want to look that up in the gradebook. We can see their attempt that they got 1 right and 2 wrong. We can give them feedback, which is the feedback that they get after it is graded and after we hit save here. And the student can now take this again if they want. They can take it again immediately since it was a self-graded exam or test. So that is how to create a test pool or a test question. So once we go back into the assignment, I can then edit this question bank if I want to. I can add another question pool out of that question bank, or I can create my own questions to add to this quiz if I want to. So now that we've uploaded our question bank to our course, we can then build out all of our tests or quizzes or assignments that we want to use those questions in. We can edit those questions as we move them into those pools, whether we want to randomize the questions, we want to randomize the answers, we want to give different answers there. We can have a wide range of editing ability within that bank question manager inside the individual test. Again, we're going to upload it into the manage banks, but we're going to build out individual tests or quizzes in that particular area. Choose what questions we want and choose what settings we want. I hope this video was helpful. If you need any additional help with your Blackboard course, feel free to reach out to me or go to help.blackboard.com. Thanks for watching.